There is limitless power in your peace. You can, and it is safe to allow the Tao. You can choose the joy of God instead of pain. You can be a frequency holder. You can expand your center to carry you through times of chaos. You can forgive and experience blissful solitude. You can feel joy for no reason. And you've done enough. You can tune into the grace of God and get more than you would even imagine. So these have been the themes of the videos this month from this channel, From Your Highest Light. And I thought I would kind of put it together. Sometimes when I watch YouTube, I like to put on a video while I'm cleaning or going for a ride or something that's I can just play, play it in the background and just kind of absorb the energy of it. So that's the intention of this video, to summarize our themes from the month. I believe these are timeless themes that are going to be helpful at any time. So we're going to kind of listen, this is a video to put on while you're doing something else and just allow it to play and absorb the energy of it. I am thinking next month I'm focusing on mental health. So if you have any questions, remember I am a psychotherapist. Obviously these videos are not psychotherapy. We can't do that over YouTube, but we can do like a sort of coaching. There are depression, anxiety coaches out there. So if you have any questions for me, go ahead and send me an email, elizabeth@yourhighestlight.com, or you can just leave a comment below. That's fine. If you have any topics that you would like me to cover, any questions, let me know, okay? So I hope you enjoy this summary of the month. Peace and love. Go ahead and let it play and go do your thing. Your peace has power. Your peace has power. This is not a like roll over, passive peace. I hope that I have portrayed this in these videos. It is a powerful thing. A Course in Miracles says this. There is limitless power in your peace. One of my favorite prayers is, show me the limitless power of my peace. So this is what we're going to talk about today in this final video in my 6-part series about how inner peace is more powerful than positive thinking. The word power, empowerment. So let's talk about how your peace has power. Just think about this. Just play around with this idea. When you're thinking during the day, instead of worrying about something or planning something, think about this idea. How does your peace have power? In what ways? This is a great journaling assignment. How is this true for you? In what ways has this been true in your life? Like when you feel peaceful, can you feel powerful too? A powerful peace? I love this idea. So some great journal ideas that I wrote down, some great journal prompts. How is this true? First of all, how is my peace powerful? And how does peace help you make decisions that are expansive? How does your inner peace help you make decisions that are expansive? This has been so true to me. Like when I feel peaceful, I take more risks. Like when you feel peaceful, you're more likely to be yourself. This sounds weird. Like for me, when I first started learning these techniques and really putting in like, what is the limitless power of my peace? Just my decisions became, even like little decisions during the day became different. And I really think that like little decisions, making little different decisions during the day can help you manifest something huge in your life, right? I mean, this might sound kind of silly, but one of the things that it really helped me with is like being able to wear what I wanted. I love fashion and I love, expressing myself that way. And I think I would dress out of fear a lot, especially when I worked at the school. I would, is this appropriate and everything? And it's just helped me to just get rid of all the fear when I'm picking out my clothes in the morning. That might sound weird, but these are like little decisions that you make throughout the day that make a huge difference. Think about like, I still remember manifesting. I talk about this all the time, I know, but being on stage with Paul McCartney, I wore that dress, the dress that I chose that morning or chose to wear on that trip. I remember the whole trip. I'm like, am I going to chicken out? Am I not going to wear that sparkly dress? Like, am I going to make a different decision because out of fear, because I'm going to be afraid? And that whole trip, I didn't allow myself to get afraid. Well, I felt fear. I didn't allow myself to stay in fear. I made my decisions from a place of peace. This is powerful. Making your decisions from a place of peace is powerful. You will feel it. Okay. So I just hope that in this series that I have really portrayed that we're talking about a powerful piece here. In the book, Love is Letting Go of Fear, I can't say his last name, but Love is Letting Go of Fear, he talks about how, and it's based on A Course in Miracles, he talks about how inner peace is your only goal and forgiveness is your function. And forgiveness has nothing to do with anybody else. Forgiveness has everything to do with you. You are the center of your universe, right? So forgive, refresh. It helps you to be free of everything. That's the other thing I feel like peace does. It helps you detach from the things that you do not want. It helps you to detach from the energies that you do not want in your life, right? Your peace will help you to do that. When you're not feeling peaceful, you feel the need to justify, you feel the need to defend. In my defenselessness, my safety lies is another Course in Miracles lesson. But when you don't feel peaceful, you feel the need to justify, you feel the need to defend, you question people's motives. You're in a judgmental place. So when you're feeling peace, you're not judging. You're just living. You are the center of your own universe, right? Become self-centered, centered on self. We need everyone to be doing this right now. This is not a selfish type of self-centered. We need everyone to be focused on their own life and creating what they want from a place of peace. If we all did that, right? What feels exciting, right now? What feels expansive for you? What would you do if you were not afraid? If you were not afraid? Do you ever have a problem or difficulty in your life and you don't know if you should do something about it or not do something about it? Like, is this something where you need to intervene, or is this something where you need to let go and let God? I had that happen to me this weekend, and I wanted to share it with you because it was super interesting. I had this deep down feeling to let God do his thing. But I was also doubting this. I didn't know if that was the correct way to handle this. There was something that was going on in my family where 2 of my family members were arguing. There was a blow up about politics. And in the past, I've been a peacemaker. I tend to be a peacemaker. I tend to try to fix things. I tend to think about things and where people are coming from and their points of view. But being the peacemaker, being the fixer, having to fix everybody's feelings so my feelings are okay, that's codependency. And I'm really working on not going down that road. And I've also realized that this comes from a place of control. People don't need me to fix them, to change them. People just need me to love them. Everything is a show of love or a call for love, right? So this book, A Course in Miracles, is magical. I opened it up this weekend when I was going through these thoughts and these feelings and these struggles, and I thought, okay, I just opened it up. I thought I was going to go to my lesson for the day, but I opened it up to a lesson that I thought was so good, and I'm going to share it with you. And I've shared this lesson before, but it's 2 lessons together that I want to talk about. This is a day of stillness and peace. This is a day of stillness and peace. This is a day of stillness and of peace, and a happy outcome to all things is sure. A happy outcome to all things is sure. Now, they say in A Course in Miracles, you're really only supposed to do 1 lesson a day. That's like the only rule. You're not supposed to do more than 1 lesson a day. But since I've done the lessons multiple times, I just listen to my intuition. And I think in this case, it's okay. We can read these 2 lessons today. Because I feel like they're really magical when they go together. There is a previous video. I can put the link for you guys. A happy outcome to all things is sure. A happy outcome in all things is sure. There's another video when I talk about that. So I talk about how anxiety isn't necessary because a happy outcome to all things is sure. But let's read these 2 together, okay? And we'll talk about how it applied to my situation, and hopefully too, this can help if anybody else is dealing with something similar, okay? So this is a day of stillness and peace. This is lesson 291. So Christ's vision looks through me today. His sight shows me all things forgiven and at peace, and offers this same vision to the world. And I accept this vision in its name, both for myself and for the world as well. What loveliness we look upon today, what holiness we see surrounding us. And it is given us to recognize it is a holiness in which we share. It is the holiness of God himself or herself. This day, my mind is quiet to receive the thoughts you offer me. And I accept what comes from you instead of from myself. I do not know the way to you, but you are wholly certain. Father, guide your Son along the quiet path that leads to you. Let my forgiveness be complete, and let my memory of you return to me. And let the memory of you return to me. I just thought this is so perfect. Like, this is a day of stillness and peace. This is a day of stillness and of peace. Remember, the world is crazy. The world is dysfunctional. When we heal ourselves, we heal the world. Okay, this is a day of stillness and peace. Got to this place. We're bringing the vertical into the world, right? We're bringing the vertical into the world. We're bringing the spiritual realm into the world. I bought a book yesterday called The Tao of Forgiveness. And I'm realizing this too, that the Tao, this is the Tao. It's the same thing. They're talking about the same thing. And this book, I'll share more about it in later videos. It's so good. It talks about connecting to your Tao mind. It's the same as connecting to the Holy Spirit. Go to the second voice. Don't go to the first voice. This is a day of stillness and peace. Don't go to the first voice in your mind. Go to the second place. But let's move to the next lesson too, because I think this one's really good. Ooh, there's like a strange looking bug on my book. Okay. Lesson 292. A happy outcome to all things is sure. God's promises make no exceptions, and he guarantees that only joy can be the final outcome found for everything. Now a happy outcome to all things is sure. Okay, great. But this doesn't mean we know exactly what that happy outcome is. That doesn't mean that in this illusion of the world that everything's going to be happy and that all outcomes are going to be happy. But the final outcome we can be assured is a happy one. The final outcome we can be assured is a happy one. We are part of God. It can't be any other way. Okay, so God's promises makes no exceptions. And he guarantees that only joy can be the final outcome found for everything. Yet it is up to us when this is reached, how long we let an alien will appear to be opposing his. And while we think this will is real, we will not find the end he has appointed as the outcome of all problems we perceive, all trials we see, and every situation we meet. Yet the ending is certain, for God's will is done in earth and heaven. God's will is done. Let's claim it. We will seek and we will find according to his will, which guarantees that our will is done. We thank you, Father, for your guarantee of only happy outcomes in the end. Help us not interfere. This was such a perfect thing for me to hear this weekend. Help us not interfere and so delay the happy endings you have promised us for every problem that we can perceive, for every trial we think we still must meet, for every trial we think we still must meet, because it will appear that we have many trials still to meet, right? I was talking to my mom and we were talking about the same situation. We were saying how let God do his thing. Let God do his thing. Like, a happy outcome to all things is sure. We don't know. We're not sure why this is happening or why any instance, is happening. When we're in it, we don't always understand it. But we can hold the peace. A happy outcome to all things is sure. And it does say in this lesson, a happy outcome to all things is sure, that there is another will that is here that appears to be opposing God's. But listen to what it says. It says it is up to us how long we let an alien will appear to be opposing his. So there appears to be another will. Obviously, there appears to be another will in this world. There appears to be another will that is opposing God's. But it's up to us how long we allow that. How long we allow that. I think that's an interesting thing to let that sink in. You might notice the tone of my video is a little different today. I do feel a little sad today. I feel a little drained. I had some social activity over the weekend, so as a super introverted person, I tend to feel drained. I feel sad about the political division in my family, the political division in the world, the suffering that's going on in the world. Like, I feel all those things. And I do these videos really kind of because of all those things. Like, I want to talk about peace, and I want to talk about bringing the vertical into the world, bringing the spiritual realm, connecting with God, connecting to a higher power, connecting to the bigger picture, going beyond everything, going beyond politics, going beyond the division. And so I guess you might notice that my tone's a little different today because I'm feeling a little different, but it's just all part of the process. I've been thinking a lot about who is my video for? You're supposed to know who your audience exactly is, and I've always struggled with that. I hate doing that. I think about a little bit about me, more about me. I'm 48 years old, so I've thought about doing it like women over 40 or highly sensitive people. I'm highly sensitive. I'm an empath, INFJ, on the Myers-Briggs. So all these, my personality is a little odd. I'm a little different, and hopefully I just assume that I will definitely connect with those people, the people who feel me will feel me, and the people who don't won't. So I don't know. I felt the need to share that. So I decided to go get the book, The Tao of Forgiveness. This is it, The Tao of Forgiveness by William Martin. Oh, it's so good. And I love the Tao Te Ching, right? I've read that. And if you haven't read it, read it. It's so good. But I thought I'd read the introduction and we would talk a little bit about how this really aligns with the Course in Miracles. The introduction, it says the Tao. If you are not familiar with Lao Tzu's wonderful wisdom, may I invite you to obtain a copy of his Tao Te Ching and use it as a companion to this book on the journey of forgiveness. It is available in dozens of translations, including my own. in a small book, only 81 short verses of wisdom poetry written more than 2,500 years ago. Yet it remains one of the most translated and venerated books of both Eastern and Western cultures. It sets out the basic themes of the Tao that I will be using as a foundation for this book on the practice of forgiveness. In the Tao of forgiveness, the important word is Tao. I love this. Directly seeking forgiveness itself will leave us stuck in a maze of impossible contradictions. A Course in Miracles says the exact same thing. It uses different words. It doesn't say the Tao, but it says the exact same thing. The form of forgiveness that A Course in Miracles talks about is not the form of forgiveness that the world talks about, because it would be impossibly contradictory. To forgive an unforgivable offense, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so directly seeking forgiveness will leave us stuck in a maze of impossible contradictions. If we find the Tao in any situation, however, the Tao, the center, however, we will find forgiveness to be a natural consequence. So this book presents a practice that will help us discover the Tao waiting within our minds and hearts. There is a Tao waiting within our minds and hearts. It's connecting with the present moment, connecting with the vertical, connecting with the Tao. It is waiting for us. I was also reading yesterday, I'm really going to get to this Tao kick recently, but I was also listening to The Tao Made Easy by Alan Cohen. He also wrote A Course in Miracles Made Easy. So Alan Cohen in his book was saying that instead of saying, may the force be with you, that we should be saying, may you be with the force, because the force is always with you. The Tao, it's always with you, right? May you be with the force instead. The force never left you. Okay, so Tao can be translated in many ways. From a simple path up to the front door to the sublime, the way the cosmos unfolds itself. That's my favorite. I underlined that. The way the cosmos unfolds itself. Allow the cosmos to unfold itself. It was so interesting this weekend because I was at a party where there was a lot of people there, and it was just, I had this like realization that I used to think like if I said something stupid, you know, this is part of my personality type, I guess. If I said something stupid or that I had to say like the exact perfect thing to make things go perfectly. And if I said something, it was like my fault. I took too much responsibility for things in a way. Even though we are responsible for our own reality, I was taking responsibility for other people's reality. And the cosmos unfolds itself perfectly. I don't need to interfere, and I haven't interfered either, okay? So I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, so the way the cosmos unfolds itself. It is the mystery behind all mysteries, the God behind all gods, the unnameable behind all names. We can speak about it, but as Lao Tzu taught, the words we use are mere imperfect pointers and are not the Tao itself. That which can be named is not the Tao. That's why I have a hard time sometimes coming up with words for some of the things that I speak about, because the words are just pointers. They don't necessarily describe it. And sometimes words are dualistic, right? It kind of creates a separation between things. So I don't know. I just thought that would be helpful too. I'm going to keep reading this book and sharing with you the tidbits of it that are really good. So the Tao of forgiveness. Forgive, refresh. Stay focused. I just think it's so important right now for us to stay focused on our own lives and create something beautiful within our own lives. We're all creators, right? We're all creating something within our lives, whether it's a family, whether it's a business, whether it's something beautiful, whether it's a garden. Create. Get within your own life and create. Okay, peace and love. I hope this was helpful today. Go ahead and subscribe below if you want more videos like this. I feel like this is a strange one today. It is your thoughts alone that cause you pain. Nothing external to your mind can hurt or injure you in any way. It is your thoughts alone that cause you pain. Nothing external to your mind can hurt or injure you in any way. Let this idea sink in. This is, of course, from A Course in Miracles, lesson 190. I choose the joy of God instead of pain. And if you want the joy of God today instead of pain, stick with me in this video and we're going to talk about how to get the joy of God, how to choose the joy of God instead of pain. My name is Elizabeth Cermak. I'm a psychotherapist and life coach here to talk about bringing the vertical into this world, getting into the spiritual dimension. It's funny because I was watching a video from Michael Meade yesterday. I think his name was Michael Meade. I just discovered him. He's an amazing man. And he was talking about how in this world we've gone too horizontal. We need the vertical. We need to connect with the vertical. And I was just very excited. I'll put a video of his below because I thought that was really cool that he was talking about this too. People are saying it in all different ways, right? And it's funny because the first time I really got this idea of connecting to the vertical, go vertical. I'm trying to think of other ways you can say it. Go vertical, connect with the I am, connect with the I am, connect with the Tao, So the first time I said this to a client just kind of spontaneously once who was struggling with something. And I said, go vertical, get vertical. And she was like, I get it. She goes, you don't need to say anything else. You don't need to say anything else. Go vertical. And that's all I said. And she got it. There was nothing else that needed to be said. She flipped. There was a switch that got flipped as soon as I said, get vertical, get vertical. Of course, this is a client who was open to spirituality. But yes, we need to go deeper. Getting vertical is getting into the silence, going deeper. And Michael Mead, I believe that is his name. I would have to look it up to make sure. But he was talking about how, we don't, like, even the social media and the internet, it's all very vertical, right? I mean, it's all very horizontal, right? It's like more stuff, more information, more stuff, right? We don't really need more information, more stuff, more. We don't need to be going this way. We need more vertical, deeper. We need to go deeper into eternity. We need to find eternity. And he was saying, when we find this, the world's so chaotic, right? We need all individually, and I'm saying this too, I say this too, that we need to find this within ourselves, this place. It's time to go within. Spiritual traditions have been saying this forever, right? We need to develop this place within us that can't be shaken, that can't be destroyed. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. We need to get to that place within us, right? And this world, the way this world is causing us to do this. So let's do it. So it's exciting. Okay, so let's learn how to choose the joy of God instead of pain. It definitely seems like this world causes us pain, right? I mean, me too. So this is nothing to get offended by. This is nothing to get mad about when you hear it. I mean, it can sometimes if you're in a certain mood. If I'm in a certain mood and read that, it can make me kind of irritated. But it's okay. Like it's, and I say this to my clients all the time, like leaning into that possibility. Let's open your mind to the possibility, become the gentle observer and see if this is true for you. See in what areas of your life you can notice that this is true. Become the gentle observer. Okay, so I choose the joy of God instead of pain. And I started with, this is paragraph 5, lesson 190 in A Course in Miracles. It says, it is your thoughts alone that cause you pain. Nothing external to your mind can hurt or injure you in any way. There is no cause beyond yourself that can reach down and bring oppression, right? The oppression in this world does exist in a relative form, but in a true ultimate form, it doesn't exist, right? No one but yourself affects you. What if you could go out into this world and be who you are and allow others to be who they are and not let it affect who you are? No one but yourself affects you. There is nothing in the world that has the power to make you ill or sad or weak or frail. I mean, we are getting at a spiritual level here, right? There is nothing in the world that has the power to make you ill or sad or weak or frail. But it is you who have the power to dominate all things you see by merely recognizing what you are. This is such a great line. It is you who have the power to dominate all things you see by merely recognizing what you are. I mean, to say that you can dominate all things you see, open your mind to this. You want this, right? I really feel like if we could just, those first 2 sentences of that paragraph, it is your thoughts alone that cause you pain. Nothing external to your mind can hurt or injure you in any way. Nothing external to your mind can hurt or injure you in any way. If we got that sentence, that one sentence, we don't need anything else. We wouldn't need anything else. Okay, but it is you who have the power to dominate all things you see by merely recognizing what you are. As you perceive the harmlessness in them, they will accept your holy will as theirs. And what was seen as fearful now becomes a source of innocence and holiness. What was seen as fearful now becomes a source of innocence and holiness. Have you ever done this where you feel like everybody in the world and everything in the world is against you, and then you change, like the flip gets switched, like when I told that client to go vertical, and the flip gets switched and you change, and all of a sudden it seems like everything is for you. You have a choice on how you perceive that. Okay. And what is seen as fearful now becomes a source of innocence and holiness. Or if you read an email like from a place of fear or like anger, and then you go back and you read it and it's like it makes you mad, and then you go back and read it, it's like, oh, this person wasn't saying what I was projecting. Projection's never truth, right? Extension's truth. We don't want to project. We want to extend. We want to extend love. My holy brother, think of this a while. The world you see does nothing. It has no effects at all. It merely represents your thoughts, and it will change entirely as you elect to change your mind and choose the joy of God as what you really want. Yourself is radiant in this holy joy, unchanged, unchanging, unchangeable, forever and forever. And would you deny a little corner of your mind its inheritance and keep it as a hospital for pain, a sickly place where living things must come at last to die? The world may seem to cause you pain. It sure does, doesn't it? And yet the world, as causeless, has no power to cause. As an effect, it cannot make effects. As an illusion, it is what you wish. Your idle wishes represent its pains. This lesson is just perfect. Your idle wishes represent its pains. Your strange desires bring it evil dreams. Your thoughts of death envelop it in fear, while in your kind forgiveness does it live. I mean, the world may seem to cause you pain, and yet the world, as causeless, has no power to cause. As an effect, it cannot make effects. So the world is an effect, right? It's just an effect. It's not a cause. Pain is the thought of evil taking form and working havoc in your holy mind. Pain is the ransom you have gladly paid not to be free. In pain is God denied the son he loves. In pain does fear appear to triumph over love, and time replace eternity in heaven. We need to align with eternity. And the world becomes a cruel and bitter place, where sorrow rules and little joys give way before the onslaught of the savage pain that waits to end all joy and misery. Lay down your arms and come without defense into the quiet place where heaven's peace holds all things still at last. Lay down all thoughts of danger and of fear. Let no attack enter with you. Lay down the cruel sword of judgment that you hold against your throat, and put aside the withering assaults with which you seek to hide your holiness. Here will you understand there is no pain. Here does the joy of God belong to you. This is the day when it is given you to realize the lesson that contains all of salvation's power. It is this: pain is illusion, joy reality. Pain is illusion, joy reality. The spiritual answer is so simple. Pain is but sleep, joy is awakening. Pain is deception, joy alone is truth. And so again, we make the only choice that ever can be made. We choose between illusions and the truth, or pain and joy, or hell and heaven. Let our gratitude unto our teacher fill our hearts, as we are free to choose our joy instead of pain, our holiness in place of sin, the peace of God instead of conflict, and the light of heaven for the darkness of the world. I just love this lesson. So I just started at paragraph 5 and decided to read the whole thing, but choosing the joy of God instead of pain, and knowing that that is your choice. It is a choice. And joy is one of the characteristics of the teachers of God, according to A Course in Miracles. So yes, you want to choose the joy of God instead of pain. And joy in this world, feeling joyful, is a form of resistance. It is a form of resistance. I do feel this air of like powerlessness or helplessness in the air. And the reason why I know that is because I was feeling it. And I read this last night in A Course in Miracles. There's another part that I read too that I just opened it up. And powerlessness is not of God. Helplessness is not of God. We are not powerless. We are not helpless. You know, this is in chapter 21, Reason and Perception, section 7, the last unanswered question. Yet hate must have a target. There can be no faith in sin without an enemy. Who that believes in sin would dare believe he has no enemy? Could he admit that no one made him powerless? Reason would surely bid him seek no longer what is not there to find. Yet first he must be willing to perceive a world where it is not. It is not necessary that he understand how he can see it, nor should he try. For if he focuses on what he cannot understand, he will but emphasize his helplessness, and let sin tell him that the enemy must be himself. But let him only ask himself these questions, which he must decide to have it done for him. Do I desire a world I rule instead of one that rules me? Do I desire a world that I rule instead of one that rules me? You rule your own world. Do I desire a world where I am powerful instead of helpless? Do I desire a world in which I have no enemies and cannot sin? What do you desire? And do I want to see what I denied because it is the truth? And do I want to see what I denied because it is the truth? That's the question that the next few paragraphs talk about, because that's the harder question to answer. So choosing the joy of God instead of pain is a powerful choice. Choosing the joy of God instead of pain is a powerful choice. I think this world kind of leads us to believe that that is not a powerful choice, and it is. It's inward power. This is what we want, right? Inward power. We want to go vertical. We want to find the place within us that is eternal, that is silent, that is steady, that is joyful. what is it, Eckhart Tolle, I think he was going to put it in A New Earth, that he said that in the middle of every universe is a black hole, and they wouldn't let him put it in there because it wasn't scientifically proven. And he said he just knew it instinctively. He knew it because he could feel it within himself. We are all microcosms of the universe. And of course, science recently came out with that discovery that at the middle of every, I think it's universe, is a black hole. And to me, that feels like endless space where all things are possible. We are in the world, but not of the world. We are not here to fix the world. We are here to love the world. Okay, so I hope this was helpful today. Go ahead and subscribe below if you want more videos like this that will remind you of who you are and connect with the vertical realm and get inner peace. Don't we all want that? And please send me your questions. Comment below if you have any questions that you want me to answer, or if you have any topics that you want me to cover. I would love to hear from you and connect more deeply with you. And maybe even you can email me too, Elizabeth@yourhighestlight.com. Let me know a little bit about yourself. I talked about my previous video about how, like, what are the characteristics of, I'm just curious about the characteristics of the people who are listening to these videos. Like, is it somebody who is looking for a spiritual connection, somebody who's looking for more inner peace, somebody who's a highly sensitive person, somebody who's an empath, somebody who's over 40, you know, like whatever, under 40, whatever. I'm just interested in knowing who you are so I can make more videos that are helpful. So far, I've been making videos that are things that I need to hear, that I feel like other people would benefit from it too. So I'm thinking it's probably people like me that are watching, but I would love to know more about you. Okay, so peace and love. I hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you next time. Do you identify as a frequency holder? Do you identify as a frequency holder? Even if you don't know what that term means or you haven't heard of it yet, is this you? Like, does it feel like this is you? Eckhart Tolle introduces this term frequency holder at the end of the book, A New Earth. And the first time I heard it, I was like, oh my God, this is me. I love this term. And I've been on this wanting to connect with my people who are watching my videos lately, and I'm just wondering if anybody watching my videos would identify as a frequency holder. Let me know. My name is Elizabeth Cermak. I'm a psychotherapist and coach here to talk about bringing the vertical into this world. And yeah, let me know if you identify with this term. But I'm also going to, in this video, we're going to read the section of frequency holders in A New Earth and talk a little bit about what that means. Okay, being a frequency holder. Okay, A New Earth, this is chapter 10 of A New Earth, and I believe the chapter is called A New Earth. Hold on, let me look. Oh yes, this is chapter 10 of A New Earth, entitled A New Earth, and this is the section that says the frequency holders. So the outward movement into form does not express itself with equal intensity in all people. Some feel a strong urge to build, create, become involved, achieve, and make an impact upon the world. If they are unconscious, their ego will, of course, take over and use the energy of the outgoing cycle for its own purposes. That ego. I add things sometimes when I'm reading them. So anyway, let's continue. This, however, also greatly reduces the flow of creative energy available to them, and increasingly they need to rely on efforting to get what they want. They need to rely on efforting to get what they want. Okay, so if they are conscious, those people in whom the outward movement is strong will be highly creative. Others, after the natural expansion that comes with growing up has run its course, lead an outwardly unremarkable, seemingly more passive and relatively uneventful existence. They are more inward-looking by nature, and for them, the outward movement into form is minimal. They would rather return home than go out. They have no desire to get strongly involved in or change the world. If they have any ambitions, this guy keeps driving by. Okay. If they have any ambitions, they usually don't go beyond finding something to do that gives them a degree of independence. Some of them find it hard to fit into this world. Some are lucky enough to find a protective niche where they can lead a relatively sheltered life, a job that provides them with a regular income or a small business of their own. Some may feel drawn toward living in a spiritual community or monastery. There's been times when I've wondered if I should be living in a monastery. Others may become dropouts and live on the margins of a society they feel they have little in common with. Some turn to drugs because they find living in this world is too painful. Others eventually become healers or spiritual teachers, that is to say, teachers of being. In past ages, they would probably have been called contemplatives. There is no place for them, it seems, in our contemporary civilization. On the arising new earth, however, their role is just as vital as that of the creators, the doers, the reformers. Their function is to anchor the frequency of the new consciousness on this planet. So we don't realize like what power that has. I've seen people criticize this idea of frequency holder, like people who are talking about how you have to go out and do. they don't get it, right? If you're criticizing this, you don't get it because everybody comes into this world different. We all have a unique soul, and we all come into this world to be who we are. And if someone else is telling you this is how you have to be, well, then there's a problem there, right? They don't get it. Somebody who's criticizing this. Because we don't know. Our limited perception doesn't know. We don't know what power we have. Every thought we think, every feeling we have is affecting something, right? Okay. On the arising new earth, however, their role is just as vital as that of the creators, the doers, the reformers. Their function is to anchor the frequency of the new consciousness on this planet. I call them frequency holders. They are here to generate consciousness through the activities of daily life, through their interactions with others, as well as through just being. There's this guy that lives in the apartments near me, and I see him, he works at Walmart, and I see him walking back and forth, even in the winter, to work. You know, he walks to work and then goes home, and I feel this, he's a frequency holder. You know, I just feel this when I watch him or look at him or see him at the store. I feel this connection to him. It's so interesting. Okay, so like we don't know. I mean, he's working at Walmart, right? We don't know how he could be affecting the entire world, holding the frequency of a new earth in his being. In this way, they endow the seemingly insignificant with profound meaning. They endow the seemingly insignificant with profound meaning. Their task is to bring spacious stillness into this world by being absolutely present in whatever they do. There is consciousness and therefore quality in what they do, even the simplest task. Their purpose is to do everything in a sacred manner. Remember how there's a video where I talk about, I'll put the link to it, where I talk about doing small things in a sacred manner. I don't know if I use the word sacred. I think I do. But like little tasks, doing them with love. As each human being is an integral part of the collective human consciousness, they affect the world much more deeply than is visible on the surface of their lives. I'm wondering, does anybody that watches my videos connect with this idea of being a frequency holder? I certainly do. I certainly do. I certainly feel it's part of my calling, I guess you would say. This Michael Meade video I was watching yesterday, he was talking about how, yeah, we're kind of obsessed in our society with having choices. And yeah, it's nice to have choices, but isn't it wonderful to be chosen? And he talks about how we're all chosen for something, and that we need to get into this place of stillness, this place of infinity, the Tao. You know, we need to connect this place and listen. What are we chosen? What are you chosen for? What is choosing you? What is choosing you? You know, we all have a calling. We all have a place within this world. Everything we do affects the world, right? You know, we all have a frequency. Words are limited. It's okay. Words are limited. We all have a frequency, but some of us probably connect with this idea more than others. But I think the point is that nobody's job is bigger than somebody else's job in this new earth. Have you noticed that more and more we cannot depend on the things of this world for long-term happiness, long-term fulfillment, long-term stability? It seems like this has always been the case, but it seems like it's more and more in our face now. Now today, if you stick with me in this video, we are going to find a place, that place within us. We're going to find our center, find that place within us that cannot be affected by the things of this world. If we are spiritually awakening in the world right now, all the chaos around us is actually helping us to go within and to develop this place within us. I've been listening more and more to Michael Meade right now, and he talks about how our heart, the way the world is right now, our heart could be broken at any moment. There's just something about that, what he said, that just feels so true. Our heart can be broken at any moment, especially if we are overly relying on the things outside of us. This is causing us to go within and develop this center, this place within us that cannot be threatened, that cannot be affected by the things of this world. A Course in Miracles says, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Herein lies the peace of God. Real meaning lasting. So we need to find the lasting place, the real place within us, the real place that is not affected by the chaos. That place exists. It's in us. It's always there. It's not something we have to necessarily find, but it's something that we need to align with and discover and be aware of. And today I woke up this morning feeling a little off center, and that was the word that came to me, off center. And I did this exercise that I found really helpful to keep me in my center. So we're going to do that today. We're going to do an experiential thing where we actually develop our center, we get into our center, and then we expand our center. So we are affecting the world instead of the world affecting us. That is what the good news is right now. That's what this is causing to do. The systems, the things that we relied on, I feel like this is so reflective. We're all microcosms of what's happening in the world. So even our relationships, everything can seem very unstable. Like you're afraid to say things. Like it seems like things can change in an instant. Does it feel like that? So we need more vertical, right? Less horizontal. Like even social media can be very horizontal. I find myself even on YouTube, like I need more spiritual things that I can listen to. This is about going vertical is not about more and more stuff in the world, even more and more ideas, more and more whatever. It's about going deeper and higher. It's about getting in your center, going within. Something that I've been doing lately that's been very helpful, like this past week, is when I wake up in the morning, I do not go to my phone. I've been doing that for a long time, but there's certain times in my life where something's going on where I have to go to my phone or something like that. But I've been able to do this for the past week or so, where I give myself like an hour or two, if I can, without even looking at my phone. And it's such freedom. I went for a walk last week. I didn't bring my phone with me. A lot of times I'm listening to spiritual things and I loved learning about spirituality, but it's like enough already. I need to go within and listen to myself. So I was thinking when I went for my walk, I didn't listen to anything spiritual, but I did. I listened to myself. That is spiritual. So it's like, I feel that there is this force in the world that is trying to keep us horizontal instead of going vertical. There's something, I can feel it within me. There's something that wants to be very horizontal instead of vertical, that wants to like figure it out or get more stuff or whatever, get more and more, and thinking that that's going to, more things of this world is going to help me. I feel this force within me and within the world. So it's okay that that force is there. We want to realize it, become the gentle observer of it, realize it, allow it to strengthen our spiritual and attitudinal muscles. That's what this is doing, So going within, not relying on anything outside of you. You never needed to. It feels like it almost feels like healing, for instance. I was thinking about this term like healing. A Course in Miracles calls healing, true healing is inner peace. I have to agree with that. True healing is inner peace. I feel like our definitions, we can't even really define in this world what healing is anymore. It's confusing. Like I'm confused. What is true healing, Well, if we call it inner peace, that's something, it's like the things that we thought fit so well into categories don't fit that well. And I don't think they ever really did. I think that was something that we tried to do. We tried to put everything in a category, and that's not how it really is true. That's not truth, right? So today we're looking for a place within us that is true. We're looking to discover the place within us. I'm trying to say how to say it, but we're looking for the place within us to align with the place within us that is true. We're only looking for the truth. Right? We're only looking for the truth. And I'm not talking about the truth of this world, like what he said this and he said this and what is actually true. I'm talking about our truth, our center, the things that are true in this world. The things that are loving and true are the things that will last. The things that aren't built on love are the things that aren't going to last, right? So there's a lot of things in this world that aren't built on love. So there's a lot of things in this world that aren't going to last, which means, but we are based on love. Our truth, we are based on love. We will last. Our soul will last. Michael Meade talks about expanding our soul right now because that is what gets us through hard times. That's what carries us through. This is great news. We can do this. We can expand our soul in order to affect, and then we end up affecting the world. I don't know that we want to do it in order to affect the world. It does end up affecting the world, but we want to expand our soul. We want to expand our soul. We want to align with our soul. We want to align with the vertical. We want to listen to the voice for God. There are a lot of things out there that are begging for our attention, that want our attention, that want our sensitivity. A lot of things that are not helpful to us, that want us to be sensitive to them. If we are the sensitive souls, we want to be sensitive to peace. We want to be sensitive to God. I had made a video a long time ago that said the universe is saying, sense me. It wants you to be sensitive, but we don't want to be sensitive to regret, guilt, anger, separation. We want to be sensitive to the truth. We bring the truth into the world that way, right? We become sensitive to the truth, to God, to what is true. That's where we want our sensitivity to lie. It is a gift. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to do an experience today where we expand our center. So we are no longer at the effect of the world. We're never at the effect of the world, but so we don't feel as though we are at the effect of the world. So we get our whole body, mind, soul online, knowing that we are not the effect of the world. And so we grow this place within us that cannot be affected by the chaos, that cannot be affected by greed, that cannot be affected by fear. We grow this place within us that we know is true and real and eternal, that can't be touched. It can't be affected by age. It can't be affected by anything. Okay, so go ahead and if you're driving, do not close your eyes. Maybe wait for later if you're driving, but go ahead and sit up straight. Imagine like a broomstick through your spine. So you're sitting up straight with your shoulders back as much as you can. Go ahead and close your eyes if you can, if you're in a place where you can do that. And imagine that there is a very thin, long rod of light that goes through the top of your head, down the center of your body. And right now you're getting aligned with that. That is going through your body and you are aligning with this light. This is your center. It goes right through the middle of your body. And this is where your soul resides in a sense. We can think of it as your soul. This is where limitless possibilities, the quantum field, everything that's possible exists here. Everything that could be created. It's a place of pure peace, joy, forgiveness, unity. And this is shining down the center of your body right now. It's always there. You're just putting your attention on it. This is your center. It belongs to you. Nobody has the power to take you from it. A Course in Miracles says it can be but myself I crucify, and it can be but my gratitude that I earn. So it's all you. Nobody has the power to take this away from you. Nobody can. It's always there. And now picture it, this light going out in all directions. And there's a cylinder now. It's always there, but you're aware of it now. That's surrounding you about an arm's length from your body, the top of your head, the bottom of your feet. You're perfectly centered in the cylinder. It's your aura. You're perfectly centered in it. And when you go out into the world, nothing affects it. It comes with you. You stay in the center of it always. And it's perfectly smooth. The cylinder is perfectly smooth. There's no holes in it. You're contained. All of your energy is contained within the cylinder. There's no holes to let the energy out. And there's no holes to let anybody else's stuff in. The only thing that can penetrate the cylinder is love. Everything else is not true. And so it cannot affect it because it is not real. You are perfectly safe. You always have been. You are not affected by the things of this world. You never have been. Your soul is free. And you are aligned with this freedom. And from now on, you act from this place. You make decisions from this place. You easily access this place. And it never, ever leaves you. You are eternal. You are. And now say it out loud with me. I am. I am. I really feel it. I really can feel the energy. I can feel the container. Okay. So we are going to stay within that container today. It's always there. It never changed. We're just aware of it now. It's all cool. It is its own reward. It helps us bring the vertical into this world. It helps us feel more peaceful. It's like the key to inner peace. I feel like it's the key. For me, it's the key to manifesting. It keeps me close to God. It keeps me close to what I want. So potent alone time. We're going to talk about the key to very, very potent alone time here. Do you love your alone time? I have a feeling you probably do because I got a really good response on my frequency holder video, which probably means that a lot of my viewers are introverts, are frequency holders just like me. And even if you don't put me in a box either, so even if you don't identify that way, that's okay. This video will help you have a more potent alone time. So this is about, sometimes we have a love-hate relationship with our alone time. For me, I love being alone. I am an introvert. I love being alone. I can really look forward to it. But sometimes then when I get my alone time, my mind is not always my friend. You know, my mind can go to a lot of different places that I don't want it to go. So let's talk about how to have very potent alone time, the key, potent alone time. And I feel like if you get it with this, right? It is its own reward. It is its own reward. It helps us bring the vertical into this world. It helps us feel more peaceful. It's like the key to inner peace. I feel like it's the key, for me, it's the key to manifesting. It keeps me close to God. It keeps me close to what I want. So potent alone time. We're going to talk about the key to very, very potent alone time here. Just what I say it, you know, if you get it, you get it. It is its own reward. Okay, so my husband printed out, I had my husband print out my notes for me and they are like way too small. So let's see what they say. Okay. So this is a quote by Blaise Pascal. He said that all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Isn't that possibly true? Like if you think about today, we could even add without technology today. So it is possible that all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. And if we can all like learn how to have super potent, super blissful alone time, think about the shifts that could make in the planet too. So blissful solitude. I heard the term, I think it was solitude, but not solitary. So what is the key? What is the key to blissful solitude, to potent alone time? This key that helps us feel peaceful, that is its own reward, but also helps us manifest. It's forgiveness. Of course, it's forgiveness. So we're going to talk about forgiveness today in a way that is not, so before you turn me off, please don't turn me off the minute I said forgiveness. We're going to talk about forgiveness today in a way that is not what the world sees. You know, we're going to talk about a different type of forgiveness, a more spiritual type of forgiveness, not like an I'm better than you spiritual type of forgiveness, but it's taken me a long time to understand how A Course in Miracles defines forgiveness. So we're going to talk about that today. But we're also going to compare it to like how Eckhart Tolle talks about forgiveness, how his definition of it in a class that I recently took with him, and also the Tao. Let's compare. Let's talk about all these different ways that all these traditions can get us to a place of forgiveness, and it feels so good to get to this place. And really, this is the key to freedom. It is the key to freedom. And when I say it's taken me a long time to understand how A Course in Miracles describes forgiveness, I don't even know if I'm there yet, but I'm much closer than I used to be. Okay, so let's first of all talk about in a recent class that I took, and this not only helps us have more potent alone time, it helps us just be more potent individuals. It helps us be in the world, you know, it helps us live more holy. It helps us be more complete, or like realize that we are complete. Okay, so it's not just about alone time, but this is the key I have found to being alone and not being lonely, to being happy when I'm alone, and to really enjoying my alone time. Real quick, before we talk about the definition of forgiveness, let's talk about why we need to go here. Why are we even going to forgiveness? Well, where are the places our mind can go when we're alone? and this can happen in a meditation, this can happen anywhere, but especially when we're like looking forward to this alone time, and I found that my mind wants to distract me, right? Well, it brings us to the past a lot. It will, and I feel like the older you get, you know, you have more past. The older you get in this world, obviously there is more past. There's more things to forgive. So it can go to the past. It can go to past regrets. It can go to things that maybe you think you should have done differently. It could go to, so this forgiveness is for ourselves and for others, for the world. It can go to things that we think other people wronged us for. So basically it's things that we think should have been different, you know, things, judgments of others. It can go to things that we think others should have done differently. It can go to future fears. So all of these things come up so we can release them, we can forgive them, and we can be whole. We can be in the present moment, wholly in the present moment. In this class that I'm taking with Eckhart Tolle, he talks about, the class is a new earth, bringing a new earth consciousness into the planet. But he talks about how picture that you are here right now and you have no past. Picture that you're just here, and it's kind of hard to do, but like you could sit in a meditation and do this. My mentor used to say to do this too. Picture you have no past. So picture that you just arrived like here and there is no past. There is no past. I mean, you can go to the past later. You still will have a past, but picture that you don't. And how does it feel to be you? How does it feel to be you without a past? And this is how you can kind of get in touch with your essence. This is how you can get in touch with the essence of you. Okay, so Eckhart Tolle defines forgiveness. We're going to the definitions of forgiveness. I got sidetracked. Eckhart Tolle defines forgiveness as true forgiveness recognizes that the causes of human suffering come from the unawakened state. So true forgiveness recognizes that the causes of human suffering come from the unawakened state. It almost reminds me of The Four Agreements, the book The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, like don't take anything personally. Forgiveness it recognizes that this is forgiveness of ourselves and others. And I know like more serious offenses obviously are harder to forgive, but we forgive so we can be free, so we can be wholly present, so we can get in touch with our own essence. So we're not attached to that thing anymore. So we forgive because we know that anything that caused suffering comes from the unconscious. And we forgive ourselves because anything that we did that goes against who we are, that came from our unconscious, and we forgive others. And the longer we live, there just are more forgiveness opportunities for ourselves and others. I do feel like life gets more peaceful. I mean, it has for me like calmer and more peaceful, but there are more things happen. So there are more forgiveness opportunities the longer we live. So we just recognize that true forgiveness, it just recognizes that it comes from the unconscious. This world kind of defines forgiveness slightly different than that, right? Like this is getting down to the point of, A Course in Miracles says, we forgive because it didn't even happen, you know? And I'm not going to tell somebody that who's in the midst of a trauma or something that it didn't happen, but we forgive because nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God, because only love is real, because only loving actions are real. And that's what we want to put our attention on. And that's why we forgive, according to A Course in Miracles. It's not like I'm better than you, so I'm more spiritually involved, so I'm going to forgive this unforgivable offense. You know, we're talking on different levels. We're talking on a spiritual level here. Okay, so that's how Eckhart Tolle says that true forgiveness recognizes the cause of human suffering comes from the unawakened state, and that A Course in Miracles describes forgiveness as it didn't basically recognizing that the same thing, recognizing that it's not real. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Love is letting go of fear. Gerald Jampolsky, he wrote the book Love is Letting Go of Fear. It's really based on A Course in Miracles. And he talks about forgiveness as letting go of the past. You know, so I think this is an opportunity to forgive ourselves, forgive others, forgive the world. I love this idea, just forgive the world. I also wrote this, we manifest a better life for ourselves and the world through blissful solitude. So we can get to this place of blissful solitude through forgiveness. So whatever comes up, we forgive it. And there's nothing we cannot forgive because we deserve it. We are worthy of it. We deserve to be in touch with our own essence. We deserve to be in touch with our own energy. We deserve blissful solitude. There's nothing we cannot forgive. And there's nothing that we cannot forgive ourselves for or others for. And there's nothing that we cannot release guilt about. A Course in Miracles, the whole thing is about releasing guilt. Okay, so, and like I said, this makes us more potent manifestors. This makes us more potent individuals, more whole. Okay, let's talk about the Tao. I love this book, The Tao of Forgiveness. I mentioned this in another video that I was reading this book. So I want to read you a little thing from this book that will explain. I feel like it doesn't, I don't know if it explains it with words, but if you listen to the story and feel how you feel by the end of the story, and you will know how forgiveness feels. Hold on. Okay, so just listen to the story. It's a very short story. Stick with me to the end of it because you will understand how it feels, the feeling of forgiveness. I had to look up this word, how to pronounce it. It's called the sieve. Okay, so thoughts cannot contain forgiveness. And that's why I sometimes have a hard time. It's hard to discuss these terms. The things that I talk about, their words can't always express it. It has to be the experience of it. So if you listen to this story, you are going to experience how forgiveness feels. It's so cool. Okay. Please help me find forgiveness, begged the woman as she knelt before the Taoist master. I have so longed to be free of my guilt. I have prayed, sacrificed, and studied holy writings for many years, but nothing I do makes me feel better. Fill this with water, said the master, handing her a sieve and pointing to the river. The woman looked incredulously at the sieve. Master, she whined. I don't go, commanded the master. Do it. The woman scurried away to the riverbank and dipped the sieve into the water. The water ran out. She tried cupping one hand under the sieve, but still the water ran out. She tied her scarf around the sieve and managed to slow the water's escape, but still it ran out. Nothing she could do would keep the sieve filled with water. She returned to the master. Master, she cried, I cannot do it. No one can fill a sieve with water. So, the master replied, trying to find forgiveness with the small mind is the same. Give me the sieve. The master took the sieve and hurled it into the river, where it quickly sank to the bottom. Now, he said, it is filled. The woman instantly found the forgiveness she had sought. So in this book, they talk about the small mind. It's like the ego mind, the small mind, versus the Tao mind. Okay, so we go to the Tao mind, and that's where we find forgiveness. And the Tao cannot be described in words, right? For me, it feels more of an experience, right? So I like this too. This is a Tao mind meditation to get you in touch with the Tao mind. Blessing and peace to all in me who are disappointed. It's acknowledging that everything is you. Blessing and peace to all in me who are disappointed. Blessing and peace to all in me who feel they have disappointed others. I offer my expectations to my Tao mind. May they be used as gentle reminders, released quickly when necessary, modified gently when appropriate, and always serve the cause of compassion. I just think that's a beautiful ending to this video about potent time alone and how forgiveness gets us there. I do this because I feel like it makes us whole, and it gives us the opportunity to have this time alone, forgiving ourselves, forgiving others, forgive the world. To work with God's happiness bubbling in your soul is to carry a portable paradise with you wherever you go. This is a quote by Paramahansa Yogananda. To work with God's happiness bubbling in your soul is to carry a portable paradise with you wherever you go. Every day is joyous. That's what my husband said to me when I walked inside from watering our flowers today. He looked at me and said, every day is joyous. And we just laughed because we're goofy that way. I don't know why he looked at me and said, every day is joyous. He said, I looked at you and I just think, okay. So it's not that everything in our life is going perfectly or anything like that, but this is my husband. And so then I come to yoga today and it's all about joy. So I'm like, she kept saying the word joy and my husband looked at me and said, every day is joyous. So let's do a video on joy. I feel like this is very appropriate. So my yoga teacher today talked about Paramahansa Yogananda actually, and she talked about how he had some quote where he says, when you find any joy bubbling within you, pay attention to it and expand it. I'm not saying it perfectly. I'm kind of paraphrasing the quote, but this was what our whole yoga class was about. When you find a bubble of joy within you, pay attention to it and allow it to expand. So our yoga teacher talked about remembering a time that you felt very joyful. I always think of this time when my niece was 16 and I took her to the beach. So we were on the beach. We stayed there for 5 days in Florida, and I was in the water, in the ocean with this full moon over my head, and it was such a joyful moment. I don't even know if the word was joy. It was just like expansive, and it was just bliss. And so that moment I take with me. So what we did in yoga was we remembered a joyful moment or a time that we felt joy. and then we unattach it to the thing that happened and just feel the joy within us. You know, when we feel it bubbling within our soul, God's happiness goes with us wherever we go. So we want to not have necessarily, this is about being happy for no reason. You know, like my husband just saying, every day is joyous. I don't know. He was sitting at his desk doing work. Every day is joyous. When you feel God's happiness bubbling in your soul, it's what, now I can't remember the quote. God's happiness goes with you wherever you go. It's like a portable happiness that can go with you wherever you go. It doesn't have to be attached to anything. But since we've had the feeling before, we know the feeling. And so we can create that feeling again. The point is, though, that this is creation. This is creation because the feeling comes from you. The feeling really never was about that thing that you had or that experience, right? You create the feeling. So one time my niece went through a really bad breakup, and it was just really hard, you know, as we've all been there probably through bad breakups. I know I have been there. And I told her, like, whatever that feeling of love that you had or that you thought was so real, that was real. Just because you have a bad breakup doesn't mean that the feeling of love wasn't real. But that was yours. You created that. That wasn't his. You know, so that's something within you. Not the feeling isn't necessarily, we think that it's the things outside of us that bring us that feeling. And it really appears that way in this world, but we are the creators, right? We create that feeling. So that it doesn't have to be attached to anything. So let's work on this today. Being happy for no reason. Being happy and unattached. You are the creator of your experience, right? You have a portable paradise within you. You have a portable paradise within you. Isn't that powerful? Okay, so now think of a time, do this with me. Think of a time that you felt joy. It could be just a simple time that you were in nature. It could be a time that, you know, like I said, that I was on the beach with my niece, a time that you were with a loved one. It could be just a split second. It could be just a time that you were alone and felt that blissful alone solitude. And so pay attention to that feeling and allow it to expand within you without it being attached to anything. You have a portable paradise within you. This is powerful, right? This is very powerful. Okay, so I hope this was helpful today. Go ahead and subscribe below if you want more videos like this about inner peace, about bringing the vertical into this world. My name is Elizabeth Cermak. I'm a psychotherapist and coach here to help people feel more peaceful and help bring the vertical dimension into this world. Okay, peace and love. I'll talk to you soon. Let me also say that video that I decided to make today about joy, it's kind of funny that I decided just to make it about joy because my mind has been kind of all over the place and I was a little stuck about what video to do, about a video to make today, and I was going to talk about all of it, you know, but I just decided, no, this is ridiculous. We're going to focus on joy. We're going to choose the joy. My husband said that did really literally say that to me this morning, and that did literally happen in yoga today. There's a lot of other places my mind has gone that has not been joyful, but let's focus on the joy. Like I'm ready. And the reason why I'm adding this other part, just to say that, like, it's not like it's an easy thing for me always to focus on joy, but it is a choice, and I realize that. And yes, in some ways it is easy for me to focus on joy. I should say that, but throughout my life, I just would say that it has not been an easy thing for me. I do feel like I have created a life now where it is easier for me to focus on joy. But yeah, I mean, I still have places my mind goes that I don't want it to go. In a pretty dark way, that can still happen to me. So, but today I choose joy. Today I choose joy, and I hope that this will help somebody else to do the same, and not just be like, oh well, it must be easy to choose joy. No, it's not, and it is. And when I say I've created a life that's helped me be more joyful, I should say God has given me this life. You know, I've created this life with God, co-created a life that's helped me be more joyful. But for me, that's a really simple life that's allowed the space for joy to bubble. That has allowed the space for joy to bubble. Do you feel depleted, or do you feel like you have to do, like, the world is constantly demanding more and more and more of you, and you feel like you just can't do enough to stay ahead? Do you feel like there's just so much to do and you can't do enough, you know, to stay ahead? There's no way it's humanly possible to do all the things that you feel like you need to do or that you want to do. Let's talk a little bit about that today, because I've been sitting here thinking a little bit about God's grace. And I want to talk about how when we feel like the universe is demanding too much of us, or like we can't do enough and it's all too much, about how it's so helpful to kind of tune into this energy of God's grace. You know, I follow a coach who talks about how she does everything that she can in this world. She's a manifestation coach, and she talks about how a wealth empowerment coach, let's call her, and how she does everything and everything in this world, does everything she knows to do in order to make the manifestation happen. And then she, basically she does everything in this world she knows to do. And while I love her and I love her teachings, I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, because that sounds like a very exhausting place. It sounds like an exhausting thing to do. How could I possibly do everything I know to do in this world? There's not enough time in the day to get my manifestation. There's not enough time in the day. And I kind of had this shift today. I had been feeling pretty depleted recently. Over the weekend, I did some social things. Again, every time I do anything social, I'm like depleted. That's just my personality. But anyway, so I've been feeling a little depleted recently, and I'm like this feeling of being behind, like I can't do enough, or there's too much to do. And I couldn't figure out where this was coming from, like heaviness, a heavy feeling upon me. And today I've really shifted into this feeling of God's grace, and I understand what it means. And so we're going to talk more about it. So if we talk about the definition of grace, and I have another video that I talk about God's grace, and I feel like it's not in a very, I don't define it very well in the video, but it was another feeling that I had where I just kind of experienced it. It was where I experienced everything kind of working out, in my life in a way that I don't feel like I did anything to deserve it. And it's interesting because I was talking to a client earlier this morning as well about getting her belief behind, like, she feels like she has to do more and more and more to earn her manifestation, and getting this belief behind, like, we are worthy. Like, why do we feel like we have to do more and more and more things to earn God's love or to earn a manifestation? Like, we are worthy now. We don't have to do more and more to prove that we are worthy of anything. Right? I mean, that being said, I do believe the universe wants things from us. It doesn't want us to completely do nothing, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the things you think that need to be done in order to get what you deserve. It's more like living your life. I was trying to explain this to my client too. It's more like living your life from a place of worthiness, from a place of self-love, from a place of everything, the universe has my back, the universe is for me, living your life from this place. And then you just kind of naturally do the things and that lead to the manifestation. So, and I can still identify this thing in me that wants to work to exhaustion, that feels like I need to work to exhaustion. I still feel that in me. And can you relate to this? Like, do you feel like this drive to work to exhaustion? I don't feel like that's what God or the universe really wants from us. Like, there's no way that's what God or the universe wants from us. I do believe what the universe, God, I talk about the universe and God, but like, I believe God created the universe. So I also tend to use the terms interchangeably. What I feel, but I am kind of talking about different things when I say the universe or for God, but that's not what this video is about. So let's not get into that. But I do believe the universe wants us to be whole, healthy, complete. That's not working to exhaustion, right? The universe wants us to be good, wants us to be healthy, wants us to be whole. So this idea of like work till exhaustion, like work, that's coming from the ego, right? That's coming from society. That's coming from somewhere else. So we don't need to work to exhaustion. Now, when I first started, first of all, as a therapist, my boss used to say, okay, so figure out how much money you want to make, figure out how many clients you need, a day or a week or whatever to make that money. And then if you don't have the clients, say I needed to make $300 a day. And so that would be like, okay, so whatever. I don't want to get into like specifics of prices, but say I need to see a certain amount of clients a day in order to make the money that I needed, right? Or that I wanted. So if I didn't, say it was 5 clients a day. If I wasn't seeing 5 clients a day, he said, go ahead and do the work, like work to advertise yourself during that hour, during that free hour that you have. So if you have 5 clients a day, just work, see your clients, and that's it. If you have like 3 clients that day, then work 2 hours to advertise, to promote yourself. Okay. So that was his way. So there's nothing wrong with that way of doing it. And I think that can work, that way of doing things. But recently I realized, like, no, I feel like what we need to do is just do enough. Know that I do believe God, the universe, wants us to take action, wants us to do things, right? But let's get into this vibe of I've done enough. God's grace takes care of me. God does the rest. I've done my part. I've done enough. I don't work till exhaustion. God does the rest. And when I'm doing this, it really works. And it's about tuning into this God's grace, to this belief, idea, feeling of God's grace. God's got me. The universe has my back, right? I do just enough today. God takes care of the rest, and God gives me more than I deserve. God gives me more than what my actions deserved. You are worthy. You are worthy. You don't have to do anything to prove anything to be worthy in God's eyes, to be worthy to the universe. You are an extension of the universe. You are the universe. So you are already worthy. So do your thing. Do enough. I've done enough. And now it's in God's hands. And my other video where I talk about grace, it's like grace is this place between where you are, like I've done enough, and then God does his part or her part, right? So I trust I've done enough. The universe takes care of me. God takes care of me. And I'm talking about, in this instance, I'm kind of talking about money. Like I've done enough to earn, but it could be anything. It could be anything you want in this world.